Recording in progress.
This is, but I don't know where the last ones are. Yeah.
What's up, Patty Clark? What's up, Patty?
Yeah. Good to be with everybody. We appreciate you all being with us. Okay,
Hey,
I have some polls ready for this meeting, which is great. One thing that we're trying to figure out is how to fairly manage this election process. So we do have a structure for tonight's meeting. I have a poll for tonight's meeting if we want to begin the deliberation as early as tonight, but we also spoke about having a meeting tomorrow. Unfortunately, I have not had the chance to set up that meeting, and we haven't given much notice to our members, but it really is on the membership to deliberate and make our endorsement decisions, because we've been hearing from candidates since last week, and all the candidates have gone through the lengthy endorsement process, and we really appreciate everyone for being with us. So we're just waiting for folks to get to the 7:05. If anyone has any feedback on how to play a song, I want to play that Tracy Chapman song. But I don't know how to do that from my computer. I'm also trying to switch over right now to another computer, but if not,
hey, Elliot.
Yes.
Hey, Elliot, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, please, Jeffrey.
Can I just say a word for a second? So
sure. Right now it's opening moments.
Okay, great. So I'm Jeff Nelson. Some of you know me, some of you don't, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm acting as secretary tonight, making notes about the meeting just to kind of keep a record going. So I'm writing down who's attending, and then when the meeting opened and when it closed, and things like that, just to help out a little bit. Elliot asked me if I could do that, so I'm just writing all your names down. And so we had talked a little bit about how this evening would go. So basically, after we do a little opening remarks, I guess we're going to introduce the candidates, and the candidates we're going to have, I'm sorry, is it 3 minutes each, Elliot, or 5? Elliot?
Sorry, yeah, 3 minutes.
3 minutes each, and then, so we have 3 candidates present this evening. Brian Odega.
Yeah, Brian Odega.
And he's running, there's no one opposed for this endorsement. So we are going to let him do his presentation. Then we're going to have a short question and answer period. And then we'll do the same for the next candidates, Peter and William. We'll let them do a presentation, and then after they're both done doing their presentations, we can open that up for questions from the group. And then after that, I think we're going to ask the candidates to retire, and then we're going to deliberate amongst ourselves. Does that sound right, Elliot? And is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I see we have some questions, so... Actually, yeah, and we're hitting that 7:05 mark. So let's start with those questions, and then we can begin with the process. Mr. Somerville?
I wanted to acknowledge candidate Janet Foster as well for Assembly District 69.
Okay.
Yeah, she was she on the last time, or?
Yeah, no, I'm so sorry. Yeah, and we didn't go through the whole list. But yeah, it's going to be... yes, Odega, Foster, Mathews, and Somerville.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that correction, Brian. That's great. So we can.
And if either of you want to go first or last, you're welcome to switch it up between Somerville and Mathews. But either way.
So is Ms. Foster here with us?
Yeah, she's right here.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm sorry. Nice to see you.
Very nice to see you.
All right, that's all I want to say for now.
Okay, great. Well then, last week we had our our meeting. It was really short. This is just sort of like a quick meet and greet kind of process for our members. We do have everyone's endorsement form on file. So you've all asked a lot of questions and answers, and we've kind of gone through that. This is just kind of a quick, sort of introduction round, and then we're going to deliberate immediately after this meeting, begin the deliberations, and release our endorsement as we go through our endorsement process. So I just want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight. I want to just start off by acknowledging that we're on the land of the Tongva people, as well as the Ahachiman Nation here in Long Beach, unceded territory. And just as a progressive organization, we recognize First Nations rights to sovereign right to being on their land, and we recognize our responsibility, our great responsibility to make peace with First Nations. So I just want to begin with those words. And with that, I'd like to introduce everyone to tonight's process. Thanks again for being with us. Like I said, we're going to do, just to be in all fairness, we're going to do sort of a lightning round. I know a lot of the candidates have been waiting to hear from us for a while, so we really owe it up to the candidates to make an endorsement decision very soon. And tonight's event is just going to be a chance for us to hear directly from the candidates. The format is going to go as follows, and if there's any questions or comments, now would be the time to make some revisions. But what I'd like to propose is that we start with Bryant Odega, who will be sort of a follow-up, as last week's meeting was about local candidates. He's actually out of district. He's in Los Angeles, but is running for a very nearby area, Wilmington, San Pedro, the Harbor area, Harbor City, a lot of the refinery impacted community, port community. So he's seeking our revolution endorsement, and we have a policy of supporting nearby regions, what we call Greater Long Beach. So I'd like to start with hearing from Mr. Odega, if we can, and then after that, I'd like us to consider the assembly race, which we only have one endorsement form, and that was brought to us by Janet Foster. So I'd like for us to then hear from her, and then hear from Somerville or Mathews, and again, either order. And the format is going to be 3 minutes opening statements and then 3 minutes of questions. If we're good on time, which we were last week, 1 minute to close for each candidate. And then I'd like to actually begin the deliberation process and have a conversation amongst membership. So we would ask candidates to leave. We're hoping to wrap up tonight's event by 8 o'clock. So candidates, hopefully we will have you all out here by 7:30. And members, let's try to be out by 8 o'clock, 8:10, and officially begin our voting process, our deliberation process. I'd just like to acknowledge that unfortunately the steering committee has been we're just busy working people, and we've been unable to meet. So if there is any question about our voting process, that discussion is to be had during the deliberation amongst the deliberation part amongst the membership. And we'll discuss membership towards the end. Everyone should know, though, if you are an active member, if you are committed to the political revolution. So with that, I'd like to begin by hearing from the candidates. And if we could just do just a 3 minute. Oh, I'm sorry. I need a timekeeper. Super need a timekeeper. Jeffrey. Okay, Jeffrey, you want to be the timekeeper?
Yes, I can keep time for you. So 3 minutes.
Yeah, and if you actually wouldn't mind, like being the ding, or like the,
I'll raise my hand and say something at the time.
Okay.
When the time is up.
Okay, great. So, so that'll be our process. We'll begin with a 3 minute statement, and I'd like to begin with Mr. Odega.
All right, thank you, Elliot. Good evening, Our Revolution Long Beach. It's a pleasure to be here with all of y'all, and also with a lot of these other great progressive candidates who are also running. My name is Brian Odega. I'm a teacher at LAUSD and a proud UTLA Union member. I'm a climate justice community organizer in the Civil Rights Movement Los Angeles chapter, and I'm a lifelong resident of District 15, running to represent this district on the LA City Council, fighting for the neighborhoods of Watts, Wilmington, San Pedro, Harbor City, and Harbor Gateway, where I've lived all my life. You know, folks like me aren't expected to be involved in politics. I'm working class, I'm a renter, and I grew up in a single parent household led by my mom. You know, my parents are immigrants from Nigeria. My mom has been working the front lines during this pandemic as a home health nurse, and my dad was a taxi cab driver. But at the age of 7 years old, my father got taken by ICE and was forced to leave the country. I'm running because those closest to the struggle need to be closest to the solutions. I've served on the Harbor Gateway South Neighborhood Council, advocating for our neighbors and investing more funding into local communities, local programs to further empower our communities and our youth. I've been advocating for the LA 100 climate study, which would investigate a scenario where we can achieve 100% clean renewable energy by 2035. Under the LADWP, Barra campaign supports a 2030 deadline because we need to be bolder and more aggressive with our climate action nerds to address this crisis at the scale and urgency required. I've also been organizing, agitating, and doing outreach for Sunrise LA in the fight for climate justice to ensure that all residents, regardless of their zip code, where they live, have access to clean water, clean air, and healthy, high-quality food. I've been an educator working in Title I schools in South and Harbor, LA, and I've seen firsthand the impacts, disparities can have on the lives of our students, especially when we work and go to schools in neighborhoods that are heavily polluted by neighborhood oil drilling, industrial sites, and also from the port as well, which is a huge polluter, both for LA and also to Long Beach as well, because since there's two ports. We are tired of politicians who cater to the interests of those at the top, because that's how we got to where we are today. District 15 is 80% BIPOC, majority renter, about a quarter living under the poverty level. Yet we've never had a person of color representing our district before. We don't have any real renters on city council. And so I'm running to bring my lens as someone who knows what it's like to struggle, someone who's been advocating for our communities for years, and also someone who hasn't been afraid to challenge and even protest our government as well. And we don't take a dime of corporate money. We're fighting for a bold Green New Deal, housing justice, and also to make the minimum wage a living wage so that folks are able to thrive and not just live, but actually live with dignity. And through solidarity together, I know that we can make the change that we need, not only in Los Angeles, but also in the broader Southern California community. So thank you all for your time. Looking forward to your questions, and I hope to earn your support.
Okay, that's 3 minutes right there. Thank you.
Thank you for that great example. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, I was just trying to switch computers because I had an audio feedback, which I think some of y'all heard the feedback, and ended up canceling that meeting. Really sorry about that. So thank you for staying within the 3 minutes. Yes, and dropping some more information. We'd like to move it over to Janet Foster, who's a candidate for our region, which is now represented in a newly formed district called a state assembly. I'm sorry, is it 69 instead? And it used to be 70. Janet, is that correct? Oh, let me see. She's actually even in here. I am so sorry about that, folks. Okay, I think we have everybody. The speed round questions. Yeah, after the introductions, then we'll go into the questions. And Janet, let's give her a chance to join. So let me make sure everybody is in here. Great, nobody's in the waiting room. Oh, we do have a couple more folks. Okay, great, everybody's in. Hi, sorry about that. So I had some feedback, was trying to disconnect one computer. But we were actually about to switch over to Janet Foster, who's running for state assembly. Is she still with us? And so, Janet, I did just want to offer the floor over to you. Hi, sorry about that technical difficulties. I tell you. Oh my gosh. No, I was just explaining to folks who are rejoining us. So, Janet, did you want to share us a little information about yourself? 3 minutes?
Yes, please. Thank you. Is the timer on?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Janet Foster, and I am a candidate for Assembly District 69, which represents East Carson, Signal Hill, Long Beach, and the city of Avalon on Catalina Island. And I am a candidate that's a little bit different than the field that's in my race right now, because I am someone who has stepped up after being involved locally in housing advocacy as a private citizen. And as I began my advocacy and started to work with other groups across the state that I work with and meet with monthly, I started to learn about how not only locally in Long Beach, where I live, how it's been adversarial with our housing work, looking at affordable housing, and also working in Sacramento, where I've been assisting with lobbying lawmakers in Sacramento. I started to see a gap. And then as I'm working with other individuals, I started to see how our representation for the last 25 years has really contributed to a lot of problems that we have, not just housing, but also the slowness with the port of Long Beach, as well as the 710 corridor in terms of environmental pollution. A lot of things that could have been dealt with much swiftly has been tied to the kind of representation that we've had. And that's where I decided that I need to get a little bit more involved. And I actually am currently a member of the Central Committee. That's where I started in 2019 to get a little bit more formally involved. And through that result is how I've come to my candidacy, because I just see the inner workings that that's not correct, and it's not supportive to both working and middle class residents in our district. And that's how I stepped up. The tipping point that got me into this race was a report from last fall, where we have college students in Long Beach who the Board of Trustees of Long Beach City College voted to allow students to sleep in their cars in the parking garage. And again, that brought home to me the poor representation that we've had over the years that kind of caused this problem. And that just really bothered me. And I started looking. And actually, I was watching redistricting just to see what kind of change would I make in running. So in my mind, I was getting ready to run. And of course, the stars aligned that District 69, the new district, is a new seat. And in addition to my housing advocacy with
30
NIMBY,
seconds.
that's the group that I work with. I'm also a supporter of single payer, and I've also worked with climate change and environmental justice with housing. So I look forward to sharing more details, but I just wanted to give you a little idea about me and why I'm in this race. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Okay, that's 3 minutes right there.
Fantastic. And thank you for helping with the timekeeping, Jeffrey.
Yes.
And so Brian asked a question about the question rounds, if it's going to be like a lightning round. Our last meeting was like that too. And I also think that's kind of really fair. We've already asked a whole bunch of questions. Every candidate has already gone through a very lengthy endorsement form brought by National. And then we made it even lengthier. We've already asked plenty of questions of these candidates. So it's really just about us to kind of hear from them and really make the best decision as which do we want to put our name behind. We do want to be brief with the questions. And I want to see if we can actually save some time towards the end to actually leave a little bit early. To ask the candidates to leave early to start to deliberate about the process, because a lot of it just honestly is going to be figured out by the membership, as tonight and tomorrow. So that said, Mr. Mathews and Mr. Somerville, which of you would like to go first? Okay, I saw two people. Whoever unmutes first gets to go first. Okay, so
wins.
Okay, Mr. Mathews, go ahead in 3 minutes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Elliot, and thank you, Our Revolution. I've been with you from the beginning when we were founded several years ago. I'm Peter Mathews, political science professor at Cypress College and 30-year resident of Long Beach. I'm the only candidate endorsed by the Field of Burn Democratic Club of Los Angeles. I also worked with Bernie Sanders both times in 2016 and 2020. When he ran for president, I endorsed him, but also did videos for him, and 60,000 people saw my videos. But most importantly, what I like to do is to go back to what the scripture says: where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, the people perish. And folks, we need to go back to the vision of people like Harriet Tubman, Eleanor Roosevelt, Franklin Roosevelt, Frederick Douglass. There's so many people, Dr. Martin Luther King, Cesar Chavez in the past. So many people had visionaries. They were visionaries about what we should have, a nation that we should have that includes everyone. That's based on social justice, based on environmental justice, and definitely the issue of equality for women. Those are so important, those issues. And I'm telling you something, when I was a little boy in India, I was born in India and I lived there till I was 10 years old. At the age of 9, I used to walk home from school. When I got home to my house, there was a big gate at the house. I opened the gate, but before I opened the gate, I saw some people standing there, a couple of parents and a couple of children. I would walk straight to my mom's kitchen, and she'd be waiting with 2 plates of hot food for them with some money. And I would take the food and money back to them. When I looked them in the eye and I saw them once again, I said, in my heart, I was wondering, how could those folks be on that side of the gate, so emaciated, so thin, so starved of food? And I was on this side of the gate, well-fed, well-clothed, well-educated. And yet their parents loved those children as much as my parents loved me. That's wrong. And there are many gates here in America dividing people, the rich and the poor, the women and men. So many people that have been kept out on the other side. When they come to this side of the border undocumented, they're vilified. I believe we are a nation of immigrants. We're also a nation that owes Native people some kind of reparation or some kind of payback for what they've taken. We take their land. African Americans, we owe them trillions of dollars. We got to have some kind of forms of reparation. But we also should recognize those who've come here and who are here, who are helping build this country. And it's so important to honor them and to give them a full citizenship, a pathway to citizenship, and also to make sure that the DREAM Act is passed immediately. I'm going to Congress to fight for those issues, folks. Medicare for all is healthcare is a human right, not a privilege. We cannot do anything without our health. And our Declaration of Independence says the rights to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You cannot have any of those three things unless you have your health. So a single payer Medicare for all is what I support as well. There's so many more things. Tuition-free college, canceling student debt 100%. I believe in equalizing school funding by bringing up the low-income schools like in our district area of Southgate and Linwood.
30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. The kids there are only getting $7,000 or $7,500 per year, and the schools in Northern California in Marin County are getting $24,000 a year. This inequality has got to end. We're going to make this country equal justice for all, and that's what I believe in. I'm going to go to Congress to fight this. I'm going to carry the Bernie vision to Congress. I'm going to carry the vision of all our revolutionaries, peaceful revolutionaries I'm talking about in America. We have a great tradition. I will go there to fight for this, folks. I will not give up till I'm done. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you. 3 minutes. Thank you.
And Mr. Somerville.
Good evening, Our Revolution Long Beach. I am Reverend William Moses Somerville, congressional candidate in California's 42nd Congressional District. I am a father, pastor, husband, hospital, hospice chaplain, veteran, academic. Our Revolution Long Beach. I've been on this journey with you going back a year and a half ago when I was seeking your endorsement, and you all sat in front of me and said, we're going to hold off on the process, and endorsed Fatima in her race and held off on my process. When it came time for us to go forth early this year, you all decided that you weren't going to even endorse this race, but then I was a part of you all's meeting and you decided, oh, he's interested in our endorsement, so let's open it up. So I didn't go away. Now that we're here doing this progressive candidate forum, I'm here. I'm showing up. I was on this journey dating back to not only being a Bernie delegate in 2016, but when I was homeless in Long Beach. I want you all to send me from homelessness in Long Beach to the house on Capitol Hill. So let's look at the fact that I've been endorsed by Our Revolution Orange County. I'm endorsed by Feel the Burn LA chapter president. I'm also endorsed by Progressive Asian Networks delegate, and also provided support, receiving support from the descendant of Frederick Douglass and John Brown. I'm also, as I shared before, Reverend William Moses Somerville. I come in the tradition of Reverend William Barber, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Reverend Adam Clayton Powell. Also, my fraternity brother and descendant now, John Lewis, where I'm here to get into good trouble all over again as a new wave movement. So, once again, my top 5 issues are Medicare for all, climate justice, comprehensive reparations, voter rights protections, and as well as getting money out of politics. All of the top noble 4 legislations out of the 5 legislations that I mentioned cannot happen until we get money out of politics. The gift about you all endorsing me and sending me to Capitol Hill, I owe nobody political deals. So our campaign mantra, mission, and motto is to serve the people. I believe that people should be at the top of politicians' political priority. Once again, we're here to disrupt the status quo, serve the people. Let's move forward and be serious about it. Last but not least, to show you how serious I am about this single-payer healthcare, my campaign currently is starting a single-payer healthcare for all individuals who want $600 worth of blood work of healthcare to be done for only $25 right now. That's one single-payer healthcare initiative that we can start in order to further push and advocate for it on Capitol Hill. Thank you.
Thank you. That's 3 minutes.
Thank you. I think that's all of our candidates for this evening. So I guess, for just to kind of check in with folks, especially with the members, what I had planned was to ask the candidates to do a 1-minute statement. What I planned was 3 minutes of questions. If we do that with 3 I'm sorry, three candidates. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4 candidates. Yeah, four. I know. I'm looking at the boxes. I'm like, wait, let me count that right. 4 quick candidates. That's yeah, that's an additional 12 minutes. At the 7:30 mark, I was kind of hoping we would sort of wrap from hearing from the candidates. So I think what I would like to propose, and I'm also opening this up mainly to the members who make the decisions for the club. Would any of you like to ask some questions and we just do a 3-minute session and then we can maybe adjourn with the candidates and begin our deliberation process? I think that would be fair. Yes, Fatima, I already have that. As soon as we get into deliberation, that's going to be Fatima, that's to answer your question. Yes, we'll do that. Okay, so I'm seeing some support for the 3-minute process. So I'd like to open it up for 3 minutes to any of the candidates, and then we'd actually ask the candidates to leave as we make our decisions. Does anyone have any questions for any of the candidates? And I can also use.
So I have a,
yeah.
If I can, I have a question to Steve asking. Somehow I'm not visible here, but I am here. In this moment of crisis for abortion rights, I'd like to ask the candidates, and especially the 2 congressional candidates, what they are going to do to fully support every woman's right to choose.
Will I go first, or do you want to let Mr. Somerville go first and see Reverend, because he went last in the presentation?
Okay. So straight out the gate for me, as it relates to a woman's right to choose, that is a decision between the woman and her doctor, and I have no business being involved with the woman's health care, period. As a federal legislator and as a federal legislator, my purpose is to ensure that women's health care rights are protected and that she's safe by any and all measures.
Okay, I'll answer that. I'm 100% for the right of the woman to choose in her own reproductive freedom, and I believe we should codify it. We need to codify Roe v. Wade. We cannot rely on the Supreme Court justices to not take it away from us when the states are assaulting it. I believe we should vote in Congress for a law that would codify it, and I'm hoping that my opponent would also consider that if he gets elected. Thank you.
So I'd like to I see some folks are on stack, in which I see Lewis and Pat on stack, and we can also extend the time and, talk about deliberation, at maybe the 40 mark, and that's really pushing it. But I also see, so I wanted to ask Ms. Foster or Mr. Odega, do either of you want to comment to that question? It was specifically, okay, Janet?
Thank you. Yes. For me here in California, reproductive freedom is one of my healthcare rights that I want to work on in Sacramento. And a lot of times here in California, I think some people are a little complacent. But as we start to see a lot of these other states with their restrictions, California is going to be a beacon. And what I like to do in the assembly is actually work to make the right to a safe abortion a right and actually have it added to the California Constitution. That's exactly what I want to do upon getting into Sacramento. And that's something that I'm committed to, not just because I am a woman, but it's something, it starts to open the door to equality, women's equality. Our bodies are too much talked about in politics and governed, and this will take it out of the equation by adding a constitutional amendment to the California state constitution.
Brian, would you mind being really quick?
Yes, I'll try my best. So yes, I also support a person's right to have a legal and safe abortion. I'm a huge proponent of reproductive justice, and I support LA City opening. We plan on opening a health department for the LA City to fully fund reproductive healthcare services, including abortion services as well. Because right now the county is the one that does these programs, but the city can also play a role in reproductive justice as well.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. And I'm going to do some progressive stacking. Keep your hands raised if they are, but I'd actually like to invite Pat to ask a question. Pat Alviso.
Thank you very much. Pat Alviso here with Military Families Speak Out. We have loved ones in the military. My concern is the amount of, is the national question. So this is to our congressional candidates, if possible. And that is, we're alarmed at the amount of money that's going into wars and the military. Can you give your perspective on the budget and also particular as it relates to Ukraine? Thank you. I appreciate being asked.
And I'd like to clarify, are you asking congressional candidates to comment on that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a national issue.
Great, then we'll stick to just the national candidates if we don't mind. And Mr. Mathews, and if you don't mind just being very, very quick, same with you, Mr. Somerville, in the interest of time.
Yes, I believe our military budget is way over bloated and there's waste, fraud, and abuse in it. It's over almost $800 billion right now. It's the largest budget in the entire world. It's equal to the next 10 countries put together. We've got to cut 20% of our military budget, stop the wars. We've got to stop the endless wars, and we've got to just get rid of the military force authorization, which was in place since Iraq, giving the president the right to go everywhere. And as far as Ukraine goes, we need an immediate ceasefire. We need to negotiate to where Ukraine becomes a neutral country, does not join NATO, but it has to have guarantees from the West and from others to not be invaded by Russia. And Russia should immediately stop its bombing and stop the killing and withdraw from Ukraine right now. Those are my issues. And I do believe it's important we stop wasting our money on all of these wars
Peter,
and military.
If we could just give Mr. Somerville a second, appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'll say it like this. Similar to my Black Lives Matter comrades, defund the military, period. Refund American society, refund diplomacy. And I echo a lot of obviously what Mr. Mathews have shared and probably will even glean from his expertise all the same. But also speaking as a veteran and a chaplain who provided care to warriors who had come back home from war. I had an up close, front and personal experience with it. And if I could abolish all war, I would. And still navigating what it looks like. And the fact that we have too many, not just Black, but too many soldiers, too many veterans, too many soldiers that come home and fought for a country that now a country won't fight for them. So that's my answer on that.
Well, you guys put us in a tough place by making us choose between, genuine progressives here. So just want to share that with both of you all.
Thank you.
Folks, we have 1 minute till the 10-minute mark. So I want to actually ask the candidates to adjourn. Does anyone want to ask a final question or?
Me, apologies.
Go ahead. Yes, Louis, go ahead.
Me. My name is Juan Martinez. I am from the city of Downey, and I just wanted to ask the people running for Congress, particularly Mr. Mathews. I believe you are the only candidate who isn't taking any money from charter schools. What is it? Is that true that you're not taking money from charter schools? And what is your sentiment about charter schools in California?
I'm not taking any money from charter schools. I wouldn't take it because I believe charter schools are going to help dismantle our public school system. I oppose them. I believe instead we should strengthen our public schools by funding schools in the inner city and Appalachia where they need money and bringing in equal spending and opportunity and quality of teaching in all of our public schools. Public schools are number one for democracy and for our own children. I got a 10-year-old in school right now. And it's very important.
That sounds great. And Mr. Somerville, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I am not taking any corporate PAC, business PAC money, nor any funding from any charter schools at all. First, let's establish that. And two, I am for a robust public school being fully funded all the same. So that's where I am.
Okay, great. Well, we're a minute past time. So I would respectfully, humbly ask the candidates, if you were one of the candidates featured tonight, I'd like to ask you to leave. And thank you all so much for being with us. If you're an immediate representative of the campaign, please, and you're not a member of this group, please head out. And I just want to thank you all for being with us in terms of
Elliot, a quick question. Do we get to vote if we're a member of the club of Our Revolution, but we are also a candidate? Do we get to vote?
Yeah, you do get a vote, and I haven't figured out how to actually go about that. There's people like you, Juana Valle, Mary Zendejas and Mariella are both members. You and Mr. Somerville are both members. I have not had a meeting with the steering committee for us to figure out what we're going to do. But, you get to vote. Mr. Somerville gets to vote. You're obviously Progressive Revolution committed people. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. So please just allow me to get back to you. And that's where I need some Democratic input. I'm glad we have Fatima here who, has been with us for a while, and we're going to have some candidate some membership deliberation time. So I'll get back to you on that one. Other than that, thank you for being with us, Mr. Mathews.
Yeah, I'm leaving. As soon as I click this, there you go.
Janet, thank you.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, Fatima. Bye, Elliot.
Bye, Brian.
So yeah, we shouldn't endorse Brian because he doesn't understand the name of this club.
No.
Sorry, Brian and I are really good friends.
Okay, peace. And bye, Ben.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's Peter Mathews is still showing. But I don't know if he actually signed out or what happened there.
Ooh, okay. So I wanted to hit remove. That's probably another computer, but it says he'll not be able to rejoin the meeting, and I don't necessarily know how to do that. So, Peter, if you can hear us, if you don't mind heading out, I guess we'll just take note that he might be there.
And his hand is up. His hand is up too.
His hand is up. I could lower his hand. But if I remove him, it'll permanently remove him from the meeting. And I'm barely figuring out Zoom, as I'm sure you all can tell. So I don't want to,
Well,
2 years in this pandemic, and you're barely figuring it out.
Well, I just got Zoom, and I don't like giving corporations my money, and I waited this whole 2 years by keeping that $15 to myself. So
I just like messing with
final
you.
month for this. Yeah.
I think it might be okay to if you can have him leave the meeting if you can control that, because he's not going to be rejoining us tonight, right?
I actually think there's somebody else signed in under his name also.
Yeah, I think he signed it from another device.
Yeah, so it's not him. You could just exit him. It's not even him.
Yeah, but then because if I do that, it says remove, and it says this will permanently remove. And I'm like, I don't even.
Well,
it's okay.
He can come back, Elliot. He can re-sign if it.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine if you hit remove, you can come back. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, do you want to report? No, I don't want to report. Okay, great. So our revolution, folks, we have to figure out how we're going to handle this election. Thank you all for being patient as, we've been trying to figure out this co-hosted meeting, which was done with Long Beach Peace Area Network, as well as Sunrise Long Beach, to help us host a progressive forum. So our part to the community is officially over, except we do have to, make our endorsements. Folks are waiting to hear from us. I would like to figure out the most fair way to go about this. And Patty.
I have a suggestion. We could make a poll that could be emailed to our people? We can have a discussion now, but then make a poll that would be emailed to our members.
That's all right.
Yeah, now check these out.
That sounds pretty fair.
Well, so may I say something here? So if we do an email poll, it will not be secret. When the person responds to the email, we'll know how they voted.
I don't think it's a problem that we know how they voted. I think it was really rude when one of the clubs had the candidates had people voting in front of the candidates. I thought that was rude, but yeah. It's okay for us to know how we voted, don't you think?
I don't know what the membership feels. But let me just say one other thing. So there was this ability to create a poll in the Zoom meeting. Are you able to do that, Elliot?
Go ahead and launch it right now.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Now that we agreed on email, I don't hear any objections. This is a temporary poll. This is just for us to experiment with at this point, because I didn't want to introduce something I haven't done. Do you all see this poll? And before I get to that, actually, I told Fatima that she would make the opening statement in our deliberations, and I want to actually give the floor over to her for a moment. Fatima?
Oh, just to announce about canvassing and stuff as well?
Please.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you so much. It's nice to see all of you. Yeah, we have 3 weeks till ballots go out. So I don't know if you've been following my social media, but there's been some, really hateful stuff that Gibson has said, like she's not from this country, very Trump-esque stuff, Republican talking points. So forget that he's moderate. Now he's like just really, gone off the rail and stuff. And like literally like, just like really like yelled at like this young student who was asking him just about his record. So, he's definitely on edge, right, about our about his race, because we built up a really great campaign, but we need your help. We haven't knocked on all the doors we have to knock on. We haven't called all the voters we need to call. So we didn't hear back from Our Revolution Long Beach, so we made this Sunday an Our Revolution Long Beach canvas. So we would love if you all can come out. So I will put the my link in the chat here. For the canvas. It says this Sunday. It's going to be in district. I believe it's going to be in. I'm trying to see where. I'm forgetting where. Because sometimes we move around the district, but it'll be in district, so not too far. You all are in Long Beach, so I hope you can make it. And my only ask is, if you're not someone that wants to canvas, it's really fun. We have food. We'll train you. But if for whatever, whether it's a physical reason or you just don't canvas, all I ask is you maybe sign up for one thing. So I'm going to drop my phone bank link. I'm going to drop my small dollar recurring donation link. So just if you can do one action, that's what people power is, right? So canvassing, of course, is the best one, but I do respect that people have different needs and maybe not everyone can canvass. So I'll drop my phone bank link and I'll drop my recurring donor link. So if you do one thing, that's a lot of people power from this meeting. So that's all I ask. And yeah, thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Fatima. I appreciate you sticking with us, and you've seen our club go through lots of ins and outs, especially since 2020. And we will definitely make sure to put some energy into our endorsements once we figure out this whole process. What did anyone else have any other comments, or where were we in the process? I also want to remind you, Fatima, that you're also a member, and our membership bylaws, I spoke with National as to who is a member of Our Revolution, especially because right now we're operating without any bylaws. It's a very informal operation, as you can see. And so a member is anyone who has attended an event, including a rally held by Senator Sanders. It's a very open membership. We ask that people be committed to the values of the revolution. I like to use that word just to scare off people who are not down for revolution. They're in the wrong club. And And so I'm hoping that our endorsement process can also be a way to get folks who, maybe new, who may support a candidate or just be otherwise engaged in progressive politics, but may not necessarily know about Our Revolution Long Beach and can help grow the club. So, all of our endorsed candidates are also members. George Moyer is a member, Fatima is a member. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. So how should we reach out to the members and get this, get this endorsement done? What's the best ideas that does anyone have? Patty just suggested the email list. I actually don't have the email list. Ben has done a really good job of gathering that. Ben, do you think that you might be available to maybe work with me really soon, actually, like maybe like tomorrow, to send that out?
You ended up with raw potatoes and burnt onions. That makes sense. Nobody wants burnt onions. Nobody likes burnt onions. You could cook them separately.
I'm sorry, Jay, can you mute, hun?
Me? Oh.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
And Ben, are you with us? Or if not, is there somebody who has the access to the email list? Because that really sounds like the most efficient and fair way. Patty, as you see, I sent this poll thing. I don't know how this works. Right now, this is preliminary. Brian Odega is in the lead. He's got 100% answered. Ben can send an email, but I'm buried with work, so I can't lead on it. Or Jerry has the list. Okay, Ben, let me just ask then, is that email list that we accidentally sent out that one time, is that the full list that we should have sent BCC? Because what I could do is I could just this time make sure to send it in a BCC and be good to go. I just wasn't sure if that's like the list. Patty, is that more or less it is?
You know what I think it is, and I'll tell you what, Elliot, do you know how to make a poll so that people could answer and get it back? We could put a time limit on there of 24 hours, to vote and get it back in. But I don't know how to make a poll in email. Do you?
I don't, but when I was preparing for this meeting, which it doesn't look like I did, but I swear I did, I saw that there's a lot of polling, sites and email stuff. So I'm sure it wouldn't be too hard for me to figure that out, but that sounds like the best course of action. Jeff, I see your hand is up.
Well, I just want to make a couple comments. So when we started this meeting, I wrote down the people who were here. There were quite a few more than are here now. I'm only seeing 12 people here now. So I'm not, if you're going to now poll the entire membership of the club, and some of them weren't even here on this meeting, I'm not quite sure.
Oh yeah, that poll was just for fun. It was to see how it would work.
No, I mean, if you're thinking of sending an email message now to the membership, asking them for their endorsements, do you want to send it to just the people that were in this meeting or to everybody in the club?
Oh, no, it'd be our full list.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, you could just write an email with the questions and have them respond with their answers in the email and send it back to one person or whoever, to a team of people who are going to count the votes. That's okay. What I would recommend doing is just the simplest.
Okay, it sounds like you and me might be working together.
I could help you.
Yes. Ben suggested that he'll reach out with that list. And then Fatima's asking if it could just be a Google form. It'll probably be a Google form.
Okay.
And then in terms of order, I see Fatima, you have a question, and then Lewis.
Oh, no. Yeah. Well, no, my question was just that, someone had asked about, charter school money, and that seemed like a really big question. And I was wondering if anyone had information, it would help me make my decision of who I would support. So if anyone has, credible information on that, I would love to know what that is, because it would help, I think. Yeah.
Well, I'll volunteer what, I don't understand the issue in depth. My basic understanding is that there are the public schools, and then there are these charter schools. And some people view charter schools as a threat to public education because it's somehow a drain.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh yeah, no,
I know Fatima is familiar with the issue. She's a teacher.
Yes.
Then I don't understand your question.
Oh no, my question was a claim was made that one of the candidates take charter school money and the other doesn't. So I'm wondering, is there some evidence to that? Because that would help me make my decision in the endorsement, is what I'm saying. Yeah. So does anyone have evidence to that one of the candidates is taking charter school money or anything like that?
Well, my understanding was that they all denied taking charter school money. Did you hear that?
In terms of evidence, I won't be able to produce that, but what I can make available is their forms that they submitted, which you went through yourself, Fatima. And so I can make all of that available through a Google Drive. And I've been trying to figure out how to give everybody the form without emailing every member. And now that we talked about our poll, I can also make a drive that has all of this information available. So it wouldn't exactly, they could lie, right? Anyone could, but at least we would be able to see how they respond to the questions. And I hope that helps. Louis, did you have a question? Or Fatima, does that actually answer your question?
Yeah, but I'm super direct. Louis, I know you had some concerns and you asked a question. Do you want to address it?
Honestly, I totally forgot what the question was. No.
Be direct. We're the Revolution Club. Come on, you know who we are. Come on, Fatima.
No, you had said you had told Peter that he's the only one that doesn't take charter school money or something. I think it was your question, right?
Oh, it wasn't my question. No, it was actually Elliot called upon me, and then Juan decided to jump ahead and say.
Oh, and he's not here anymore.
So I never.
It was Martinez, last name Martinez, asked that question.
Yeah, he's actually running in Downey and running in the district. But I didn't even get a chance to even say my question.
Oh, sorry, Louis. I didn't mean to pin it on you. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No worries.
So glad we're talking as a group, as a membership. This really helps us figure out our decision and make sure that it's open, that it's fair. Okay, I think that we have our process down. Patty, do I sound organized enough? You're the more organized. I really need.
Hey, just because I'm obsessive compulsive, No, you know what? Yeah, it sounds good, Elliot. And Pat in chat said that she wants to be added to our club, which I think is great. Pat Alviso. So if you're, Jeff or Elliot, can you make sure that we make sure Pat gets added?
I put my email address on there. Thank you.
Yes, I'll make a note of that, and we'll follow up on that probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to be added.
And who's speaking? I'm sorry.
Louis.
Louis. Okay, so we're going to add Pat and Louis to the club membership.
Yeah. And both of their emails are in chat, Jeff.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Are Pat and Louis new members?
Yeah, I participated in the last forum, and then I always heard about Our Revolution, but never really. Because I'm a member of Veterans for Peace and also a board member of Veterans for Peace. So I just wanted to I've always heard about Our Revolution and just never knew about the meetings and so on and so forth. So should be interesting to be a member.
Yeah, I would love to. Then I should have done more of an intro. I feel like you might not know about my campaign, right? Or
I actually heard from your campaign. The only thing is I'm on the very tail end of North Long Beach, and your people have been reaching out to me for to talk to me, and I'm like, I don't think you're running in my area.
Oh no, but that doesn't matter. So I have people from all over California donating and walking. You don't. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know that my movement is for you, and these borders are man-made, and even if you can't vote for me, I need you. I need you to help me win my race. So like, yeah, I'm definitely happy to, and you too, Pat. Hi, Pat. Nice to meet you. I just so you know, like I've been endorsed by Bernie, Ilhan Omar, DSA LA, DSA Long Beach. I'm corporate free candidate teacher. I would love to get your help with phone banking or canvassing.
Sure.
Pat and Luis, please, it would help a lot if you want to get out, and we have great volunteers. So yeah, I just wanted to just plug that. Yes, Pat, you're smiling.
Huh? I've heard of you, Fatima, and people have told me you've got to get the vote.
Okay, all right. So sign up, Pat. Okay, sign up. I'll put my links again in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love it.
Alan Covia has also said that he wants to be added. Hey, Alan, make sure you put your email in chat, okay?
Yes, please. And then Steve, I actually wanted to give us till 10, or we could start wrapping up now. It's up to you all, but Steve, you have a question, and then Farrah Mars, and then maybe we should wrap up for the night. Steve Askin?
Yeah, if it's appropriate, I have a comment about the candidates for Congress that I want to share.
It's appropriate. You're at the right place.
And I will say, I came into this thinking that Somerville would be the candidate who I favor. And among friends, I'll be very blunt. Over time, and it may be fair or unfair, Peter he's alienated me a little bit. I'll just be blunt about that. However, politics are more important than that. And the key question for me was, because we have two progressive candidates, the key question for me was on abortion. And Peter gave a very clear and precise answer about actively defending abortion rights and putting Roe v. Wade into law. Reverend Somerville was a bit vague about that. It made me feel like in this, we have many crises, but one of the crises we face right now is the crisis on the women's right to choose. And if I see a distinction between the two candidates or where they're going to focus, Peter convinced me that that will be one of his priorities. Somerville convinced me only that, yes, he will say the right thing on it.
That's fair.
Peter's been saying the right thing for a long time and has not deviated from a progressive stance on any issue that I've seen. So.
Yeah, I would like to add something about what Peter said about the war as well. I mean, I'm totally impressed that Reverend Somerville was talking about being a veteran himself, but I wanted to hear more about that and how it related to what he said. Whereas Peter Mathews was actually on the budget, mentioned the authorization for the use of military forces, which is where the power is on these endless wars. And that shows me some knowledge of the issues that are national and really important to be aware of. Mm-hmm. Stopping wars. If you say defund wars, you're in trouble right there. Or defund the military. Yeah. That's a buzzword that the right catches on to. Can be very counterproductive. But anyway, thank you for hearing me.
Farrah Mars? And I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. F-A-R-A.
Hey. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. I wanted to say thanks for organizing this forum. I wasn't sure if you all were planning to have any other forums after this, like, for example, with Nubia Flores or anyone for school board. And also, since the previous speakers were talking about the congressional race, I'm kind of the opinion that we should not necessarily split hairs between Reverend Somerville and Peter Mathews. They're both progressive. Frankly, neither one of them is likely to make the runoff. But maybe the thing here is to support both of them. I don't really have a strong opinion one way or another. I think they're both good people. I will say, like, specifically to the lady who spoke right before me, like, we should be defunding the military. It's absolutely something that we should be promoting. If the candidates are not viable anyway, why would we want to back down from that? Especially after everything that's happened with the United States military since World War II. I don't think we should be hedging our position on that, to rethink international security the same way we want to rethink, policing in our communities. Doesn't mean that we have nothing to defend ourselves, but the current military as it stands is not a Department of Defense. It's a Department of Offense. And William Somerville, as a veteran, was eminently in a position to say that. And just because he didn't go into detail about the budget doesn't mean that his big picture position wasn't right. But I like what Peter said too. I don't think either of them are bad. Both of them are good. My final question for Elliot is, did you all consider inviting Julio Cesar Flores as well? Thank you.
Yeah, so how we invited folks is I got their name from the public records and just invited it to everybody. I didn't check their party. I just sent it to everybody. If they were registered Republican, that didn't stop me from sending it to them. I'm just assuming they're not going to want to deal with the Our Revolution endorsement form and fill out 50 questions for a process they're probably not going to get if they are a Republican. But I just sent it out to all the candidates, and the people we heard back from are the people who we heard back from. There are some other candidates whose values align with this club who just did not go through our endorsement process, and that's okay. But they won't qualify for our endorsement because they didn't want to fill out the form. Raul Cedillo for mayor, I've heard him speak at a previous forum as well. He mentioned to me that he's a member of this club, but he didn't want to fill out the endorsement form, so thus he won't qualify for the endorsement process. So I try to be as fair as possible, and I hope that's a good explanation for how we selected the candidates. And by the way, if we don't have your contact information, I do want to ask that you either drop it in the chat or send a message to Jeffrey or myself, so we make sure to include you on the vote if you would like to vote. And we got 2 minutes and 2 hands, so it's Fatima and then Pat to close us out.
Yeah, I mean, as a teacher, I have to say this. So I think when we listen to the candidates' responses, we need to look at it through the lens of like equity, right? So Peter speaks regularly on shows. He's a professor. I would say, he's even admitted in his story, he grew up on the other side of the fence, right? William, from what I know from his story, he hasn't maybe had all those privileges. I know in even the documentary, my students were in More Than Robots. My student, Aaron, a Black male, he doesn't, sometimes if either English is not your first language or you've had an inequitable education where you haven't been taught how to express yourself. That's right. Not that William isn't obviously very well spoken. I just think that, folks have different privileges, different experiences that help them articulate better. It doesn't necessarily mean that the way they would vote or that they would fight or lead is any less or any more. And so, yeah, maybe some of the words they said was different, but from what I listened, I didn't see any difference in how they would lead in Congress. So I just needed to say that as a teacher, because I know my students are always judged for not expressing themselves as well. But a lot of that is because the school system, right, hasn't given them the opportunity, or their first generation students or something like that, where, they don't have the privilege of different experiences and hearing folks that have been through college, speak and all that. So
Definitely going to be a tough one on that one. And one is the younger progressives, one is a voice of wisdom, seasoned voice of wisdom. So, I mean, there's a lot that people are going to have to consider with that one. I'm excited to actually see what the results are going to be. And then the last hand that we have up is Patty. Or I believe somebody else had their hand up, but Patty, I see your hand is the only one up right now.
You know what? The gentleman, Faramas, said something about either one of those candidates is not viable and are not going to win. And I must say that I had that opinion at the start of this whole thing a few months ago also, but I don't know that that is true. Ben put a wonderful article about the other candidates running for that House of Representatives seat in Facebook, I believe is where he put it. And it talks about the other candidate. There's other candidates other than Garcia and Garcia. Okay. And you know what? We heard from a couple of them, and they are good people, and they are, I think, much better progressives than Garcia. So I don't know that I agree that there isn't a viable chance for them to run and perhaps make it into past the primary.
Absolutely. And I mean, the Bernie Club, it's never about who's the most viable. Bernie Sanders never had it. They told us both times, but what would we, good thing we don't listen to that. You know, it's about who aligns with our values, who's got heart and soul agreement. At least in this club. There's other clubs where it does matter, you know, who's got the most money or whatever. So, well, with that, I'd like to end it unless anyone has any. Yeah, we're actually 2 minutes over. So, folks, thank you all. Thanks for this deliberation process. We now have a way that we're going to actually make our decision. So thank you, Patty, for that suggestion, and Ben and Jeffrey for helping facilitate that. Thank you, Sunrise, Long Beach Area Peace Network, for helping us co-host and have our first Progressive Candidates Forum. Thanks for anyone who's not affiliated and somehow trickled in here. We really appreciate everybody showing up. So with that, stay radical, everyone. Have a great night. Take care.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you all.